Hey. I was like, look, we got to play a little bit of that to get us going.
Well, I absolutely love it. How are you?
I am amazing. How are you today?
Good, good. This wonderful Sunday, sunny morning here.
I'm
Or evening,
in
rather.
Memphis, Tennessee, right?
Yes, Memphis, Tennessee.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. It's you're not getting any rain, are you? Because I know we got two hurricanes coming up to meet us very soon.
No rain here, but we'll see.
Let's hope against that. I'm so glad to have you on. Thank you for everybody who's joining in today. To the heart, I have the amazing Jessica Ray on with us today. Not only as a singer, but also a dancer as well. Tell me a little bit about when you knew, because you started pretty early in your career doing certain things. Tell me about when you knew this is what you wanted to do full time with your life.
That's the thing, full time. Because as we all know, starting off with any business, it's a grind. It's a grind part, and the grind really never stops, I guess. But I guess I kind of knew very, very, very quickly, probably 6, 7, 8 years old, that this is what I wanted to do. Everybody talks about Michael Jackson, but I'll never forget watching Bucharest concert. Anybody's ever not seen that, I
Oh
need
my
you to go
God.
watch it.
Life changer.
Life changing. And when I
Life
saw that, I
changing.
was like, I can do this for a career. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Hello?
And it's been, lights been on ever since. So that's pretty much it. And then just my parents helping me and supporting me throughout the way. And I still went to school throughout this. A lot of people don't know that I went to school still while I was doing this full time.
Wow.
So I ended up getting my bachelor's and my master's. And
Bravo.
so it's definitely been a grinding session. So now I'm here, and I got signed a few years back, and so it's just been work now. So
Because balance is a big thing for a lot of people who are in basically your two jobs, because school is a job. So how did you find balance to really push yourself to be not only the artist, but also the student?
it was difficult, I'm not gonna lie, because in the back of your head, you're like, I already know what I want to do. Why am I here? You have all of these things going on in your head, but it's like, and don't get me wrong, I personally, I always take the Denzel Washington approach. I don't have a plan B. Plan A is my career. That's it. That's all I have. But it's nothing wrong with getting a degree. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
There's nothing
Absolutely.
wrong with it. So that's kind of just
Absolutely.
where I was. I mean, at the time, nothing was fully happening yet. So it's like, okay, why not just keep going to school? And so I don't want to look back and say, oh man, I wish I had while my career was still, in the works, I wish I'd have gotten a degree. Now I did. And so, it's that, but it was definitely a hard balance between papers. If you ever been in college, you know about the papers and the late
Oh my.
nights. Right. Like,
Papers mean
about
reading.
on top of late night sessions, like recording sessions that don't stop till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and trying to. So it was a lot of negotiating with my with my professors, a lot of sweet talking and schmoozing going on. But I ultimately got it done, and I'm thankful that God just allowed everything to align where it needed to be so I could get it done. So
I love that. Well, congratulations. That's
thank you.
absolutely, it's a huge accomplishment, especially for someone who's balancing all of these different amazing things at one time. How did you decide the majors that you would choose?
So I just based it off of, because of course you can't go to school necessarily. I went to U of M, University of Memphis. So you necessarily can't go for performance, like entertaining, like I want to do what Michael Jackson does. What's the degree in that? They don't have that. So I
Right.
actually merged 2 degrees. I ended up doing journalism and music performance. So I got a full ride in a group called Sound Fusion, where we went and sang at different high schools to recruit people to come to University of Memphis. So that was my full ride. So then I did journalism to match that, and that's how I kind of created actually my own degree. So
That is really, really brilliant. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have thought of that. So that's great. I think that speaks to something, because for most people, being inflexible is like the way. Like they have this set idea. This is how life has to happen. This is how life has to go. And if it doesn't go this way, then I'm going to fight tooth and nail to make it work. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make it work the way I think I should have it. So
Right.
that's really good that you saw that. Was that something that you learned from your parents? Was that something that you just had in yourself, or where did you get that
I think
kind
a
of
little bit of
determination
both.
from?
My dad used to be in a band also, so he's a musician. So I kind
Ah,
of get it, passed down in the work ethic. And my mother, it's a running joke. Now she's nowhere near Joe Jackson, but it's a running joke. Like, she's always gonna make sure, I stay, professional, stay on time, just, making sure all of those things are there. So it was kind of a little bit of both. But yeah, I never really let people or things like stop me. I remember when I remade Thriller, Michael Jackson.
yes.
And there was a lot of people like, are you sure you want to do that? That's a big project. You can't shut down Bill Street. You can't do this. I'm like, watch me. I will figure it out. I will figure this thing out. And trust me, it took a lot of work and a lot of phone calls and a lot of things. But I just figured if you want something bad enough, you will figure it out one way or the
Yes.
other. And that's just how I've always been. I've never really let venues or lack of income or lack of whatever stop me from doing. Figure it out. Figure it out.
Figure it out. I love that. I think, especially now, this is the era that we have to, because
Right.
so much has happened that has changed our schedules, our plans, all of that. And
So much.
having the ability to readapt to, or not just readapt, but readjust to what's happening in society right now is so paramount. I am glad that you have that mind. What have you had to do different now from when pre-COVID? What have you had to do differently with
Oh
your
wow.
career and where you're headed with that?
A lot. I definitely, so the lock song that you were just listening to, if you go and actually watch the video and go back and pay attention, most of it was done in my house. Because it was
Nice
like,
house. Nice house.
thank you. It was like, what can you do? Like, you can't go anywhere. You can't be close to anybody. So it's only had two dancers. I mean, it was compared to the other shoots that I've had, like the Thriller and the Smooth Criminal that I've done in the past. Like, and this was my first time under the label releasing my own music, so it was a little devastating
Mhm.
because I was just like quarantined videos, like that sucks. But you just have to figure it out again, and so you had to make it work. And so, all of those parts that you saw weren't necessarily set up like that, so we had to like do a little semi-set design, figure like, okay, how can we not make this look? So it was definitely a struggle. So definitely visuals have been a thing. Our studio just opened up maybe about a
Mhm.
month ago. So studio was kind of in house, writing and recording and all of that stuff. And you can't be with the vocal producers, you can't be with the producers, so you kind of have to do it all by yourself, and they have to just
Yes.
send you things, and so that was a struggle. Of course, meetings, but personally, I like the meetings online, but that was just me.
But I'll take a meeting online instead of getting in my car and go somewhere.
Right. A
Hello.
Zoom call was my best friend. So I was fine with that. So some things I didn't mind. But for the most part, things like that was just a struggle because you wanted to make sure everybody stayed healthy and, you didn't want to put anybody in danger. So, but it wasn't that much of an adjustment because, musicians, we can kind of pretty much work from anywhere. It was just those key things, mainly visuals. That was a difficult thing, but we had to be creative. So.
I, I can understand that. Well, I'm so glad that you are in that space. What for you has been the hardest part about this particular time for you and your career?
Wow. Making sure that, especially as a Black woman, having some sort of voice.
Mm.
Um, I tend to sing a lot about, or artists in general, about making people happy and partying and all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, but what real can I say right now? What does the audience need to hear? What does the public need to hear? So that's what I've been wrapping my brain around, like, as opposed to doing these
Mm.
gimmick type of, you know, Black Lives Matter songs that everybody's just coming up with to gain something. It's like, what can I really say? What is coming from my heart? And I know for me, I've had a different upbringing, or interesting upbringing, let me say, rather, for me as a Black woman. And I was kind of out of touch with a lot of things. And
Mm.
so growing up and seeing things and experiencing things, you're like, oh, wait, wow. Okay, so this is this is what's really going on. Okay, and I'm speaking, I have a very different perspective that I think a lot of people probably can relate to. And if they can't, I think it would be great to hear. And so for me, just during this time is just really trying to find my voice for these times right now and what I can say to really resonate with people and hopefully last and, you know, resonate with people years from now. So
I love that. So tell us about that perspective, because I would love for someone who's listening and hearing you for the first time to know more about that unique perspective and upbringing that you had.
for me, so I grew up, I went to Lausanne here at Memphis, Tennessee, which is a predominantly white school. And it's a private school. And so there lies your challenge right there. So when you grow up in an all white school, you tend to have a certain mindset that when I was younger, or let's not say when I was younger, probably a couple of years ago, I'd probably be ashamed to say, but I think it's something people need to hear, especially since now I've learned and my mind is open. But you tend to have a certain perspective when you've grown up in an all white school because they treat you a certain way. So you think, oh, well, I speak right? I have a good education. I dress a certain way. I'd never be pulled over. Oh, I'd never be. And then I'm like, I remember breaking down crying. I saw on the news, I probably was in my mid-20s, this guy who went to Harvard, mistaken identity, took him out of his car, gun to his head. He spoke, and I like literally busted. I'm like, girl, you better wake up. You are a black girl in the United States of America.
Come
and
on.
it ain't no exceptions. They don't care your education. They don't care. They don't care about any of that stuff. And so for me, growing up now, it's like I'm learning a lot of things. I wouldn't say late, but I'm just being awakened to a lot of things. Like my mind is just like, and I'm wanting to read and look and research and just figure things out. And so now I'm like, okay, you need to talk about this. There's a lot of people that still unfortunately think in a certain type of way, and you need to talk about it. And so that's just kind of my perspective, and I think it just would help if I spoke out and was confident and not hide that and not be ashamed about that, you know? So yeah.
That is so crazy. My mom's on. I will never forget the time when I was a kid and we were singing. We went to a Black Baptist church, but our choir was doing a interfaith, if you will, service with a predominantly white church. Well, it was white. It was a white church. It wasn't predominantly. Yeah. It was a white church. It wasn't one black person in their church. So it was a white church that we were going to sing, and so our preacher was preaching. Well, my mom is in the choir, so they're sitting pretty much in the choir stand, and I'm supposed to have sat in the congregation. Now, mind you, as this little black boy, I don't think I had any mental understanding that when I walked in and they told me to go sit down with everybody, that the church it was like one of those churches you get married at. It had a road down the middle, and it was left and right. On the left side were the black folk, and on the white side were the white people. And I positioned myself, because it was the closest door I came into, with the white folk. And I got all these looks like, what is this little black boy doing over here? I had no understanding. And I feel like there are so many people still with that mentality as adults that you have no understanding. I was not aware of what was going on around me. And there are a lot of people in your situation before you had your wake-up call, your aha moment, that are in that space. So I'm thankful that you shared that, because that is going to help somebody, and people do need to hear that. I know quite a few people that grew up in different circumstances that didn't go to a HBCU, didn't have the opportunity to grow up in a predominantly black neighborhood and all those things. So that awareness of what you just said is so real. I think we're having a great awakening in our communities now, especially though, because of the things that we're seeing.
Even in my sessions and studio sessions, like the young black people, like we're talking about things more, and that alone warms my heart, because at first, you know, we weren't talking about this type of stuff, but they're talking about the systematic problems, and I'm just like, come on, young black king, you said what? Like, it just feels good to know that people want to be educated and want to talk more and just want to be involved more. So just we have forego a many of studio sessions just to talk about that, just to talk and just get to know each other, get to know what's happening around us, and just did you hear this? And did you hear this? And well, this is a book, you need to read this. And I'm just like, this is what we need to be doing. Sometimes
Yes.
it's not all about work, or gossip or who's on TV or celebrities. Let's just talk about how to grow as a community and as a people. So it's definitely been an awakening for a lot of people, I think, this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're spot on that whole telling that story, and even saying that black man's story affected you. You see the power of a story. This is why I do these shows, because being able to allow people to have a space to tell their stories, show their lives, you just never know how it's going to impact somebody. And so this is so important. These kind of moments are so important. Thank you for coming on and talking about it. Let's shift gears a little bit. And
Okay.
as an artist, we have been seeing a number of versus battles that have been going on. The latest one that has been mentioned is Brandy and Monica. I'm not going to ask you to choose who would win, because it hasn't happened. Yeah, I know, right? The gods have smiled. God heard my prayer. I'm just letting you know God heard my prayer. I don't know about
Right.
yours, but he heard mine. So I am so looking forward to that. I'm letting you know right now, I will be right there with that. So I won't ask you who's going to win that. I won't even do that to you, because it's coming up. But there are some others that I think, as an R&B artist, as a young woman who's a black musician, I would love to get your insight on who you think. Tina versus Patti.
Oh. Okay. So I'm about to say what I normally wouldn't say, because actually my inspiration is Tina, but that's from
Okay.
the entertaining aspect.
Yes.
But musically,
I know.
I'm gonna have to go with Patti.
I get it. I know.
But
I know.
she has an incredible music catalog as well.
She does.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Patti.
I felt your pain on that, because the first cassette, and this to tell you how old I guess I am right now. I look young. Thank you for 25. Even my first cassette was a cassette I bought at Blockbuster, and it had on there Tina Turner song, and then another song. It was basically a soundtrack. They used to sell those. So it was a soundtrack, and it had one of her songs, Private Dancer, on there. And I was like, who is this woman? And I didn't know what the song was about, but then I found out what the song was about. But that was my first introduction. And since then, of course, the movie and all those things, I fell in love with it. And so it's hard to say Patti, but I would have to go with Patti too.
Yeah, incredible, but yeah, Patti.
Yeah. What do you think? Let's switch over to some men. What do you think about Maxwell versus Joe?
Oh, come on.
I'm not going to make the season today. I'm not going to make the season.
Okay.
Maxwell versus Joe.
Again, I would, even though I love them both, I've actually seen Maxwell in concert. Incredible. I can't choose. I'm sorry. I don't know. That's difficult. That is difficult.
That's a hard one, right? His voice.
And maybe that's what it is. Like, you got music and then you got vocal ability. Like, two different things, Yeah, I don't know if I can choose that one, because Joe is chilling. Like, Joe gives me chills.
I feel like we need to see that one.
So heartfelt and so, especially woman empowerment, and it's just, yeah, that's a hard one.
That is all. Okay, I'll let you slide on that one, but you got to answer this one. Since you slid on that one, you got to answer this.
Okay.
And since you mentioned him earlier, MJ versus Prince.
Oh, come on. Well, you know what? I can't, Michael. I just have to
say it.
Okay. Even though I love Prince, my loyalty is with Michael. That's who my loyalty is with. So in any category, he's going to win. But Prince, do not get me wrong. Prince is a beast.
Two beasts. So, this is why I like
really
doing this.
Can't choose on that one either, but
that's hard. That is hard. I agree.
That's hard. Yeah.
Last one, we'll go back to women.
Okay.
And God rest their souls, Whitney and Aretha.
I knew you were gonna do it. I knew you were gonna do it. gonna have to let me slide on that one too.
Oh, come on. You can't hurt their feelings anymore.
Whitney learned from Aretha, so
You gonna give it to the OG?
So in that case, Aretha. If that's the case,
you gonna give it to the OG.
She
All
did
right.
learn from Aretha. I have to give it to the queen. So we'll go with Aretha.
I'm with it. A little fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this versus battle. I really am. I think these are actually healthy. If you could do a versus with someone who you really respect, who would you do it with?
Knowing that I would lose, Beyonce.
No, you don't have to do that. Don't do that.
Knowing that I would lose. You said somebody that I would respect. Rihanna, Beyonce, any of those I would respect highly to do a versus with. And I would just sit back and just listen and just be like, girl, just go right ahead. Just play. I respect those two women more than just their musical catalog, just on so many different levels, from, being entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Can never say that word. Philanthropists, all of that, they're just awesome women, business women,
They are.
Entertainers, singers, artists, writers, so yeah.
In that same vein, do you feel like women in the music industry, because let me preface this question. I remember growing up and seeing like shows like R&B Divas, and I don't mean the one that is a show that's out in the last few years. I'm talking about the VH1 Divas Honors or something. It was something like that. It had like Celine Dion and Aretha was on there, and Tina was on there at one point, and Whitney and Mariah. Like, they all did one show and they sang together, and all these We Are the World moments. Do you feel like we are lacking in the camaraderie amongst women artists? And how do we fix that? How do we change that? What's going on with that?
I do. I feel like they're trying to, like the Megan Thee Stallion, like she's trying to with the rap, and I see that and I admire that, especially with two women that seem to kind of been rivals. So I can appreciate her kind of bridging that gap a little bit. I think we want to. I think women want to. I think some women don't, and that's where it lies. That's where the problem lies.
Right.
And I do think that that's sad, because I really believe the Mariahs and the Whitneys and just the artists back then, I think they were where they were because of the support of each other.
Yes.
No one had any ill will towards anybody. They supported each other. They promoted each other. They mentioned each other's names in their interviews. Like, it wasn't just me, because for one, they were secure in what they could do.
Come on.
They were very secure in who they were. Whitney had no competition in her mind. So she can promote a Mariah. She can promote a whoever. There's no competition for her. So I think that's what we have to get back into. Women have to be secure in their looks. They have to be secure in their ability to sing or rap, their writing ability, their presence in a room. So now you're not, you're not insecure by anybody else in the room with you.
Yes.
And so I think once that happens, but that's gonna take some soul searching. That I don't know how to help that. That's gonna take some soul searching for them to get that happen. But no, I do agree. I think we definitely need more of that in this thing. My mother's handing me some wine here. You're so.
Oh, that's all right.
Look.
Salud.
Come on. There we go.
Salud. Yeah. So let's talk about the indie role too, because there's a lot of great indie artists out there who are doing their thing and trying to come up. Do you feel like this is a good indie time with COVID, that more people have eyes on them versus what was going on before?
Oh, for sure. I mean, social media is making and breaking artists right now. I don't care if you're signed or not signed. Social media is literally, so if you are an independent artist and COVID hit, you need to be putting out visuals every 5 seconds. You need to be putting out. Yeah, because all we had to do, I'm sure you can attest to this, was sit at home and scroll TikTok, scroll Instagram, scroll YouTube. That's all we had to do. We couldn't go out. We couldn't do anything. And you're not working 24/7 on your computer. So at some point, you're going to be scrolling. So you're finding the next, Soulja Boy that blew up out of nowhere. The next
out of nowhere.
Yeah, literally out of nowhere. So you're finding these next, hot artists. So yeah, for independent artists, this is the time. I know I utilized this time tremendously when COVID hit. So my first single released in April, and then I released one every month and a visual to go along with it every month. I was like, I'm going to utilize every
That's
bit of this
smart.
quarantine.
Yes.
So I released the last one for a while, Friday. So I just was release. I was like, hey, we ain't got
Got to
nothing but
do it.
time.
I get it.
You know,
I did this.
so
I
yeah.
mean, I understand. I put in the time and finished another book. Like you just doing the things that you know are going to give you. Because when are we ever going to have this time again, right? Like when are we ever going to have the opportunity to just have this much free time? So you can either do all the rest and relaxation. You get tired of that after a while, or you can put in some work, and get some stuff done so that you come out
Yeah.
better on the back end.
I feel
For
like this
you,
gave people a little jump start too.
yes,
You know, like you
absolutely.
said, you can either rest, which is fine, that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine, or you can be like, you know what, while everybody's rested, let me get a little head start again before quarantine is out. And so I got, some leeway. So yeah, I definitely agree. Some people have been out here hustling, so some people better watch out for those underdogs. I'm saying they've
I'm
been out here
serious.
working.
They're gonna be coming out of here and looking like
Right.
who are you?
Like, what
Like, wait a
happened?
minute. Where did you come from? How did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. Um, what? Okay, so with that said, with COVID making us feel so uncomfortable, what is your favorite space that makes you feel safe and loved?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, Lately, even though I know quarantine is kind of up, I guess a little bit, it's been inside of a booth. I know that's kind of cliche, like you're an artist, blah blah blah, but it's been inside of a booth. But before that, honestly, it was my room. It
Mm,
was my room. Um, that's a place that you don't get to see often when you're, you know.
yes.
So I utilized that. I was like, let me shut the door, shut off everybody, and I just felt safe. Like the word you use is perfect. I felt safe. I felt at
Mm,
peace. You know, I usually tell people like I did meditation more. I did yoga
mm,
more. I read more. I talked to God more. I mean, it was a lot
yes.
of more things happening um, during this quarantine, but it all happened in my bedroom. I just felt safe. I felt like I could do whatever, be whatever, say whatever, right there in that space. So yeah, my bedroom was
I love that.
lifesaver.
What currently, and I always ask, even if we already did our research, but are you currently, what's your relationship status right now?
Well, that.
Interested, seeking, sought after.
I
you
mean, my relationship. What do artists always say? My relationship is my music. It's,
Oh, yes, that's
yes,
classic.
that's the great answer, right?
That is a great answer, actually. To
So
answer it, but not answer it.
yeah, right.
Has it been difficult for you to, and I ask this to every artist and professional for a reason, because from what I found, a lot of artists and professionals feel like it's difficult to find good love, solid love, trusting love, because you never know the angle people are approaching you with. Have you ever found that to be difficult for yourself?
Very much so, and not even just from what angle they're coming from, because sometimes there's no motive. Sometimes they genuinely do care about you, but sometimes they don't understand the business that you're in. So it's either one or two things: either you're not spending enough time with them, or the people that you're spending your time with, they don't trust that situation.
Yes, I gotcha. I can
So
understand that.
and nobody could be doing anything, and you have to sympathize with them a little bit, because if they don't understand, they don't understand. And
Right.
so if I'm at the studio from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. with a bunch of guys, I could, now you may know your woman is not doing a thing, but in the back of your head, if you're spending this much time with, because we all know when you spend a certain amount of time with people over and over again, even though you may not act on it, feelings can start to develop, whether they're intentional or not intentional.
Right.
And it's just up to you whether you take it somewhere or not. um so sometimes for me, most of the time, it's not the angle. um it's just them understanding what I'm doing, or that I'm putting too much time into it. You don't have to do this much, and can't you take a break? And I'm like, do you take a break from your business? Okay.
Okay.
I don't work. I don't eat. Okay. So let's let's figure that situation out here.
Clarify that really quickly.
You
Yes.
know, so I mean, they it's just understanding because being a musician is a different world. It is a different world. I mean, and that's no knock to any other profession like being a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, because everybody has their demanding situations. But
Mhm.
being a musician, being an artist, and road life, and background singers, and dancers, and band, and producers, and you know what I mean, and late nights, and that's a crazy world. It's a crazy world, and you have to be a strong woman or man to deal with someone in the industry. And some people think, well, maybe if you date somebody who's in the industry too, that works. Not so much.
No, not
For a
always.
couple of reasons. Mainly, one, because they're going to be just as busy as you, so you're never going to spend time. But they also know what goes on. So now there might be trust on both. You know, it's just, you got to be real secure to date a musician. That's all I got to say.
Period and period. I agree with that. Do you feel like, okay, so in the moments when you are feeling like, okay, I'm by myself, I need a little pick me up, what would you put on for a song? What would you play?
Actually, it's two songs. It's this song, Want to Be Starting Something, Michael Jackson. I mean, it just, you know,
Hey,
it's something about the
yeah,
rhythm, and
yeah.
it just, come on, it just helps. And then when I'm in a spiritual world, it's actually the song called Craving by Ty Tribbett,
Okay, yes.
which is,
Yeah, I
that
was
is
thinking,
actually, and if I ever was to meet him, I would want him to know that was the first time that I ever had a breakthrough listening to that song. I have never shouted. I'm not that type in church. Never done that.
dun,
I
dun,
was
dun,
in my
dun.
car. I was going through some things, and he says in the one part of the song, you know, when you're praying to God, you may be overwhelmed and you may not know how to pray for him. But thank God for the Spirit that they can intercede. And you may not know the words to say, but that doesn't mean God doesn't know. When I took me out of here, I'm
Come
telling you, it
on,
took me
come
clean
on.
out. So those are the two songs that I listen to when I want to get a little, you know, pick me up.
I love that. That was so good. You know what? I'm gonna maybe play that right after. I'll put on my good shouting shoes. All right, I'll do
Yes,
that.
come on, shouting shoes.
So, hello. We all got a pair somewhere, whether we know it or not. All right.
Right, right.
Let's. So, with that stated, because since we're talking about music, uh, for those who haven't heard you before, and we heard a little bit at the top, but for those who might have come in a little bit, would you just give us a little something that we know that you
What you
got a
talking
little,
about?
you had your wine, you loosen up the chords,
So I'm gonna see if I can do something that I've never done before for you.
Sure.
So I have a song that I released called Whatever. And I released it in English, but I also released it in Spanish.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna do the first verse, which is only like 2 lines, it's very
Yeah.
short. And then I'm gonna try to attempt to do the chorus in Spanish. So don't
Ooh.
judge me, okay? I've
We're
never
here for
done
it.
this. So we're gonna see. Let's see. Okay. Uh, you know you can be real with me. You got your needs, I feel the same. Given the opportunity, I'd make you weak, you scream my name. All right, Spanish. Baby, si me quieres tú llamar, no hay que hablar sin condición, secretamente estando juntos. Si me quieres tú llamar, no hay que hablar sin condición. Podemos ser whatever we wanna be. I don't know how that Spanish
Come on
works. I'm
now.
supposed to see Spanish over here.
I needed to take one more year in Spanish class and I would have been all right. That was good. Like, you got to think about the level of artistry it takes when Spanish may not be your first language, is it?
Not at all. I don't speak
Okay.
Spanish at all, actually.
There you go. So that's a whole level, a different level. It's almost like an actor that has to then get into a role. That was really, really good.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Yes, and to even throw that in here impromptu, acapella, like, come on, that's prop worthy. That is shout worthy right there. Come on,
Thank
get
you.
some
Come
hearts
on.
and
Don't
likes
see
for
if we
that.
gonna get out of
Yes, there
shout shit
you go.
before this over with. You know what? You're gonna be my new shouting buddy.
I got you. I'm on your side. I'm on your
Come on.
team. I don't mind. All right. I went to look. For me, my journey was a little interesting religiously because we started off. We were Presbyterian, so we were a little quiet. And then we went to a Baptist church when we got to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we got a little louder.
That's a
And then
different
I went to
story.
college and joined up with a non-denominational, and then switched over to a Pentecostal church. So
Oh.
I have gotten degrees of a Christian anxiety, if you will.
Right.
I will say,
I feel you.
you know. So I'll go there with you. I don't mind. Thank you so much for that. Like that. First of all, just showing a level of artistry that we don't get to see all the time for people that are willing to take a risk on a show like this to even present that. So thank you for that. Also, let me get a little fun with this, because hearing you sing and hearing you get a little fun down in Florida, there's a lot of people that speak Spanish. But there's also a great show that was all about Florida. And that was my Golden Girls. Come on, love that show. Which character do you feel like you relate to the most?
Honestly, Rose.
Come on, Rose.
I have my moments. I do. I just, free spirited. Just whatever happens. Just, it is what it is. I mean, love life, love birds.
Hello. Keep it
Everything.
easy, light, and airy.
I'm not Blanche. I mean, everybody has their moments now.
Everybody has a Blanche moment. We're not gonna act like we don't have no. We never had a Blanche.
Dorothy? No, not Dorothy. But that little one.
The little feisty one.
The little feisty one. What's her name? She didn't
Sophia.
Sophia. Now
it's so funny that the name was Sophia. Think about that. Miss Sophia off of Color Purple.
Oh.
She was also a firecracker.
So maybe it's the names. Sophia's
something.
You gotta watch out for some Sophias. But yeah, I would consider myself a Rose. Yeah, I'm a Rose.
I like a Rose.
And I'm proud of it.
What about, let's switch it to something more modern. What about living single? How would you pair up on living single?
Well, if I'm gonna say I'm Rose, then I might as well say I'm what's her name?
I know you're talking about. Lord, I had a whole moment just now.
A whole moment, and I watch him every morning.
Every morning. It's not Khadijah.
It's not Khadijah.
Not Regine.
It's not Regine. Even though I would love to think I was Regine, but come on, Sinclair.
Come on, somebody
in
there knows.
Sinclair,
it's not Maxine,
right? Isn't it
Sinclair?
Yeah.
Sinclair.
That's what it is. That's who I think I think I might be a little bit of Sinclair. Maybe a little bit of Khadijah.
A little bit Khadijah.
I can see a little bit of Khadijah for sure. Yeah.
I was about to say I could kind of feel a little Khadijah on.
Yeah. I do like to be in control. That's just, I got to work on that, but sometimes I don't want to, but I do have to be in control. And I am very much about my business and, I am focused. So from that standpoint, definitely Khadijah.
I love it. What is next for you, my dear?
COVID makes it a very hard thing to answer, honestly. I'm not going to lie, especially for artists. But what I hope to be next is an EP dropping next year. Hopefully some tours happening, but I am actually working on something that you are the first person to know about.
All right.
That is an Instagram Live.
Come on,
I've never gone Instagram Live before doing a show. Never. And so this is a very different kind of Instagram Live. Because as we said before, nothing is too big. I will figure it out. So I was like, everybody just stands in front of a band and sings. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But you'll have to watch. But just know. Yes.
All right. All right. We'll wait on it. But we thank you for the little snippet. We thank you for that.
Yeah, so that's happening, and I'm releasing a Christmas song in December. So
All
got to
right.
shoot the video for that. So I got a few things coming down, but hopefully pandemic will rise up so we can do some touring. I want to tour. So
I know it's I was watching, and I'm trying to remember this country, but somewhere in Europe they had their first outdoor concert,
I saw.
and they had the little platforms that were 6 feet apart, and 5 people could be on each platform, and they had chairs. So I was like, they trying to figure out something.
Figure out something. So hopefully we can. I think that's a dope idea. Outside concerts. I don't know how that works for winter time, but other than that, but I think outside concerts will be great, especially since they've shut down the festivals like Coachella and all of that stuff. So hopefully they figure something out soon.
Hopefully.
We're all ready.
Well, I can just tell you that not only did we enjoy your music at the beginning, my favorite song on there, but also enjoyed that presentation. Thank you so much for whatever. Come on, like that was good. You are doing this thing. Tell us where everybody can find you so that they can go and follow you and do all the great things to make sure that they become mega fans of yours.
Well, I am Jessica_Ray everywhere. YouTube, Jessica Ray. And all of my music is on all platforms you can possibly think of. And then my website is iamjessicaray.com. So
awesome. Well, I got to thank you again for taking some time and getting on the heart with me. It has been a true pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to one day, collabing, because this song "Lock" is like my anthem right now. I was listening to it. It's my anthem right now. Like I was playing it, I was like, just know that this show will hear that song some more. So
I like it. Well, thank you for having me. Bring me back. I would love to come back.
Absolutely. We got some things coming up. And so we love to connect with amazing people. And so connected.
That's wonderful. I love it.
Thank you again. You have a beautiful day. You know what? We will go out the way we came in. Because I feel it. We can dance on out. How about that? Come on. Hey. Now I know it's your house.
Come on by anytime. Come on by.
Bodysuit. Y'all check this video out. Lock, the official music video on YouTube. Jessica Ray, check her out. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and you have a beautiful day. Thank you again, Jessica. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, bye.